What's happening, Dynasty? I probably should have opened this up before I started the video. Where am I at? Here we go. I'm finally here with a week 9 recap. My theme song continues to be true. I just keep on rolling, baby. But I'm not going to start with my matchup. We'll start with what ended up being the biggest blowout of the week. We had the Rampage with 150 over Jibo with 79. Red flag for Wrightsman, though. Rivers, I think I mentioned him as the most surprising first quarter pull quarterback after 4 games. He has fallen off a cliff, along with the entire San Diego offense. -3 points for him this week. I can't remember if this is the lowest point total I've ever seen or not. I remember a few years ago when Andy accused Nick of tanking for playing Blaine Gabbert. He ended up with negative points. It was either -2 or -4. So prior to the game, Durr said Hybes is tanking. He's not putting in his best lineup because he actually put in Gabbert. And then Gabbert went on to score negative points. So -3 is one of the worst 2 performances I can ever remember. He did, however, have 4 dudes with at least 20 points. Antonio Brown, the wide receiver MVP. Rob Gronkowski, the tight end MVP. Jimmy Graham. And then Adam Vinatieri. F kickers. Let's get rid of kickers. That might be a little reactive in nature, but I think they're worthless. I really, really do. So congratulations to Jibo, though, because he didn't get doubled up. Jibo is not yet mathematically eliminated. If he wins out and if certain teams lose out, he's still alive mathematically. Rampage has all but locked up his division. He has 3.5 games up with 4 games to play. So his magic number is down to 1. Any win of his or a loss by Chris, and he has it wrapped up. In the second matchup, this ended up being a pretty good matchup. We have Chicago Forte Yard Dash 153 over the Fear Boners 123. In my preview, I said, will Jeremy Hill come back to bite the Dash in the butt? And he did his best, scoring 28 points. But it wasn't enough because he was still outscored by Marshawn Lynch. Beast Mode was back at it after taking 6 weeks off in a row. Basically ever since Mike traded for him. He's been pretty terrible, but he did put up 30 in this game. So besides Hill, the Fear Boners were really, really top-heavy. Hill, Julian Edelman, and Tom Brady, those 2 are related, did put up at least 27 each, but he did have 5 dudes with 7 or less, including 2 goose eggs between Clay Harbor and Eddie Royale. Eddie Royale started off the year with a bang, with a few huge performances, and he's really tailed off. Which kind of relates to Phillip Rivers. So right now, the Dash is he had the second highest score of the week. He was only 1 point off the top score. Who was that again that got the top score? Shoot. We'll get back to that, I guess. Currently, Dash is tied for 5th with the Nuts and with Organized Chaos. And he has a comfortable 2 games up on 8th place. So it's looking like the 2 wild cards are going to come from the Dash, the Nuts, and Chaos. Chaos is selling, so it's likely going to be the Dash and the Nuts. But they're all tied right now. The Dash does own his own destiny because he does play the Nuts. In fact, all 3 of those teams own their own destiny. If they win out, they will make the playoffs because they're all tied and because Mike has to play Brian yet. So one of those 2 teams will lose or tie. So if any of the 3 win out, they are in the playoffs. Febo needed this matchup to have any chance. He did not get it. So still not mathematically eliminated, but not looking good at all. In our second biggest blowout of the week, which is not really all that surprising, we had Jaquiz My Pants 143 over Borkham's Ballbusters 77. Now that 77 is a terrible score. Oh, I guess it was only second worst. Jibo outscored him with 79. And condolences. Pull out the world's tiniest violin. Borkham's Ballbusters is mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. You were behind it all season long, being a rookie, trying to get your feet underneath you. That, and you just did not have a good team to start either. Yeah, still looking for your first win. Did not get it this past week. Did not even come close. Almost got doubled up, just like Jibo. Over on Rob's side for Jaquiz My Pants had some really good performances. Beckham Jr., a lot of receptions, a lot of yards. He got 23 points without a touchdown, which is one of the highest that I remember seeing this year without having the benefit of a touchdown. Alfred Morris had his biggest game of the year, and this is only the fourth time he's reached double digits. So RG3 being back, maybe that opens up some running lanes for Alfred, for Rob going forward. And then even with AJ back, Sanu still put up 19 points. So some really good performances from Rob's team on his way to 143 points, which was almost double what he needed to win. Jaquiz does have a 3-game lead with 4 games to go, so his magic number is down to 2 in order to win his division. 1 win by him or a combination of 2 wins by him and losses by Justin will wrap it up for him. In terms of thinking grander, if you pretty much assume that he does have his division wrapped up, he's currently tied for first with me, a few points back behind me, but 1 game up on Durs for the bye week, which is really, really important. And some points over him. So he is looking like a solid option to get the bye week from here on out. So, yeah. In our, what ended up being the Kia Sorrento match of the week, this is the only game that I got wrong as well. It was Organized Chaos with 112 over Cecil's Sea Shorts with 70. So I went 5-1 this week. Well, the projections went 5-1 this week, which is better than what I thought that I was going to do. I said I should go 4-2. But between both dynasties for the past 2 weeks, the projections are 22-2. So they're starting to come around a little bit this week and last week. Just an overall terrible game for Chris. His 70 points would have been outscored by Organized Chaos's top 4 guys only. And Chaos didn't even put up a ton of points. I think these were 2 of the lowest 4 scores of the week. So Chaos still in it, still tied for 5th and 6th, is quite a few points behind, but he controls his own destiny as well. If he wins out, he will make the playoffs. He is pretty thin at running back right now, only 1 point between his RB2 and his RB3. A lot of that thanks to Reggie Bush and Steven Jackson being on a bye, but not a whole lot of depth there at running back. Cecil Sea Shorts was hurt by bye weeks this week as well, but still, even when you factor those in, still a terrible, terrible week. Right now, Cecil Sea Shorts still mathematically alive. 2.5 games out of the playoffs. Not looking swell for him, though. In our next matchup, it was yours truly over the Masonites. This ended up being the game of the week. I needed a big performance out of Andrew Luck on Monday Night Football, and I got it. Brought me up to 154, which is good for the most points in the league again this week. That is 5 out of the 9 weeks, more than half of the weeks that I've had the most points. But I'm still only tied for first. It's still possible that I'm not going to win the championship. But yeah, 5th time out of 9 weeks I've dropped the highest score. And this is all after that stupid last 4 minutes of Sunday Night Football where Roethlisberger, Steelers should have run out the clock. He gets a bogus touchdown, which was not a touchdown. Spaeth was down at the half-yard line. And then the Ravens get the ball back. A couple dump downs to Telefario. And that was 12 extra points that I don't think Doug deserved. Just run out the clock, Pittsburgh. Kickers are stupid. This is the second time this year I've got a goose egg from them, just in this league. I've done it in the other league as well. Over on Doug's side, huge games from Ben Roethlisberger, obviously. Fantasy stud all of a sudden. And Mark Ingram with 24. So if it is just one guy in New Orleans, they can put up some points. With there being no Pierre Thomas and no Kyrie Robinson this past week. Masonites did drop their highest point total of the year. In fact, 3 teams have brought their A game against me by dropping their highest point total in the year, but I'm still 8-1. I won this week, scored the most points without the number 1 running back in the game. that is Matt Forte. It's no longer DeMarco. Mason Knights right now are 2 games and a crap load of points out of the playoffs. So it would be a long shot. I'm still number 1, but still tied. Not a whole lot of wiggle room in terms of getting first place in the division. I have a lot more wiggle room, I guess, for maintaining my bye week because I'm a crap load of points in a game up on Durs, but I play him this week. Matchup of the week. The next matchup of the week. And I am up 3 games in my division with 4 to play. So I pretty much have that wrapped up. Magic numbers down to 2 for me as well. In the matchup, if I gave any of them, this would have been the impact matchup of the week. The next impact matchup of the week from last year. Kind of disappointed. It was a low-scoring affair, and it was fist pumpers over nuts, and I don't have their score here. I don't know why. It wasn't, organized chaos. Cecil C. Shorts low, but compared to the other impactful matchups, it was a pretty low score. The nuts were very hit or miss. 4 dudes with 19 plus, including 2 Cardinals: Carson Palmer, Andre Ellington, and then DeAndre Hopkins and Percy Harvin. I think with probably his biggest game of the year. Maybe the Jets are going to get him a little bit more involved than the Seahawks did, but he did also have his other 6 dudes were in single digits, so nothing really in the teens except for. I think one of the guys scored 19. Both of these teams were 3 points within their projections, so maybe it's not all that low scoring of a game. For the Fisters, Macklin, another huge game, back-to-back huge weeks. He has 75 points in his last 2 games, which I think is more than Roethlisberger in his last 2. Durs is not missing Monte Ball a whole lot. Ronnie Hillman with a huge game, 24 points. And you probably saw this. Durs made a trade to pick up Andy Dalton. Gave up only a second-round draft pick, so not a ton. And that's because Nick Foles is out. So, Red Rocket. Andy Dalton time. Tight end could be an issue for Durs going forward. Only 1 point between Zach Ertz, Timothy Wright, and Brandon Myers. Now, Myers wasn't on his in his roster, but that's the lack of depth that he has at tight end. He was huge on Ertz at the beginning of the year, and Ertz is just not performing. As hard as Andy is getting screwed in D2, which is quite hard, he can thank the fantasy gods in D1. He's sitting at 7-2, third in the league. Chance to tie me next week. He has a 4-game lead in his division. His magic number is 1, and so the only way he loses his division is if he loses every game, Doug or Ferguson wins every game, and they got to catch up a crap load of points. Like, it's not going to happen. Durs has his division wrapped up. So he has a fewer total number of points than every other division leader. Fewer total points than everyone in my division. Yeah, he's going to be the first one that probably locks up his division. So quit your bitching over in D2, Durs. Freaking cold. So, right now, B Cubed is the only team mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. No one has clinched a playoff berth yet, mathematically. But a few of us can do it this week. Myself, Jaquiz, and the Fist Pumpers can all clinch a playoff berth with a win. Rampage clinches a playoff berth with a win and a loss by Cecil C. Shorts. And Jibo is eliminated with a loss or a win by Organized Chaos this week. So, I'm going to do a preview again tomorrow. I already threw up on Facebook the matchups of the week. So, looking forward to that. You guys keep coming after me. Actually, I might actually pick Durs to beat me this week. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Peace.